And after that, we bring you our person of interest. We're talking today about HopeWorks. It's shifting the narrative. It's making early empowerment changes. And we're going to talk a little bit about how it's a mission. And we're talking about the woman who is turning hope into action, specifically for younger women and young girls.
Welcome back. You're watching The Breakfast Club. Let's quickly take you through our person of interest today. And there is no shortage of conversations around gender equality. But a few sort of years back, the action that has been taken, Jacintha Jayachandran, she actually comes into focus. As a founder and trustee of HopeWorks Foundation, she's been working at the grassroots to empower young girls from deprived communities.
She helps them build tools to build emotional resilience, access holistic education, and seek meaningful employment. And we thought her work had to be highlighted because it is actually so much more than just physical skill building. It is about building strength from the inside. So, joining us today on the show, Jacintha Jayachandran. Let's go over to her to understand more about her journey. Jacintha, thank you for joining us. Tell us, what was the spark that led you to start this foundation? Is there a story behind it, a moment?
Well, there are, right? One was the life journey. I knew always that I wanted to go into social impact before I turned 50. Don't ask me why that was the magic number. It was just something I was very clear about. And I had studied in a government-aided school in Bangalore. So I went into that school to find out what I could do in terms of enabling the girl children. And I met the current principal there, and Sister Pauline is her name. I asked her, what can I do? And I had actually carried a checkbook with me. When I studied in that school, the toilets were really dirty and very difficult to use. So I thought maybe I could fix the toilets and then figure out. She listened to what I do in the corporate world, and she asked me one question, and that was, can you teach my girls hope? Because you're saying you're teaching corporate leaders leadership. And it actually just, made me rethink, what exactly was this ask, and do I even have an answer? Can hope be taught? Can hope be learned? And I actually, for the first time, did a deep dive within myself to understand what is hope, and it's not just a 4-letter English word. So I went and did a little bit of research for about 3 months by taking a sabbatical, and then spoke to Professor Rick Miller of Arizona State University, who runs the Masters Institute, and at that time was the CEO of Kids at Hope in the US. And I asked him, what is hope? He's only worked on hope, by the way. And that call made me realize that hope is not just an English word. It is a life skill that all of us need to learn. And when you speak to Rick Miller and the number of lives they've transformed and the stories they have, it was such a huge inspiration to say, this is exactly what I want to do.
Wow, that's quite a beautiful and powerful story. But why this specific focus on girls between 6 to 21? What's unique about this age window, perhaps, in shaping gender equity?
What I realized while working with women leaders across organizations, especially in the corporate world, we were sort of catching them when they were in their mid-career journeys and teaching them how to carry themselves as women who believe in themselves and have the leadership potential. And I realized a lot of times, and not just a lot of times, almost all the time, it's not the skill that is not there. It really is the social conditioning which makes you believe that probably I'm not a leader, which makes you all the time second guess yourself, which always almost makes you believe, how do I prioritize? And I realized, therefore, instead of doing this at a later point in time, why not start very young? Help girls as young as 6 to believe they have an equal space, that they can own their space and just be themselves. I don't think we should give permission for the social influences to get to a point where a really well-educated woman working with all her might is still very doubtful of her leadership capability and capacity. I wonder if we could do this much, much before. And we may not be able to change all the influences, but if we can start working with them when they are very young in schools, I think we can really change the way they think, they believe, and they act.
Each of your answers is just so beautiful and so layered. Jacintha, can you tell us, what are some of the biggest myths or misconceptions around what you choose to do, which is this equality work?
I think one of the first things is, of course, there's plenty spoken about female infanticide, etc. I don't even want to go into those. One of our girls is earning and is supporting the whole family. And she has a brother who refuses to go to work, does not contribute anything to the family. And she still feels the mother is really supportive of the son rather than her. I think it begins there. But I also think, I came from what was, I think, in my childhood, a lower middle class family, a low income family, to where I think I am today. You knew patriarchy from, I think, the day you know and feel that you are a female, you know patriarchy exists, right? And I think one of the things that you are always made to believe is that the boys are better. And very often I wondered that it was mostly the female members in my family who had these feelings. So I do genuinely believe that patriarchy is not just about the men. I think women are really, in some ways, the torchbearers of patriarchy in families.
That's true. That's very, very well said and true. But what does emotional strength then really mean to you? I'm sure in your conversations, in your training with these young girls, how do you build, something, confidence, hope perhaps, in people who are coming from such deprived backgrounds?
One, I believe, is show up consistently if you want to really work with them and be there with them. I'll share an example, Sonal. We used to work with a home for rescued girls, and there were kids as young as 6, and they're all girls. And one day we were teaching them how do you identify feelings, right? And what are these big feelings that you have inside? And so we conducted a little dumb charades kind of a game where we taught them how you feel, and we made them guess the emotions, and they did a great job of it, right? After that, I was sitting with the 6-year-olds. There were about 8 of them. And I said, now we gave them crayons. We said, draw yourself, right? And say, what is the emotion you're feeling? And believe me, Sonal, out of the 8 kids, I think all 7 of them drew themselves. And then they identified anger and sadness as the emotions that they are feeling at the age 6. It actually, just really troubled me. And I realized emotional literacy, emotional awareness, and emotional response can be taught. But the building block for it is actually being aware of what you're feeling and having the license to believe it is okay to feel these things. I'm okay to feel anger. I'm okay to feel sad. Because I think somewhere, especially for children, we don't really validate their feelings.
Jacintha, I must ask you, when people work in the profession that you do, or when they are mothers, which so often women are, they're women, who are working and mothers at home, they are giving. How do you refill your cup when you are pouring constantly into the cups of others?
I think the idea of lifting each other up when you do this work, right? We partner with that many partners across India. Right now we have 7 chapters in Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. But this year we are going to Maharashtra, and hopefully to Jharkhand and Orissa. How do we reach there? We reach through partners who are actually doing social impact work at the ground level. And you come there to collaborate, cooperate, and make this work, because the people for whom you're working deserve that bit of generosity of working together. So the day that I feel I'm not able to find the resources, I could always call a partner organization or somebody else and say, hey, you know what, I'm struggling with this. Do you think you can connect me to somebody that you know? And believe me, in the social impact space, I think the idea of collaboration that I have experienced has been truly, truly something that I think everybody else needs to really understand and adopt. Because collaboration here is, we use the word hyper collaboration. I believe this is way beyond hyper and humane collaboration. I saw it during COVID times. I've seen it in the 5 years of running this particular foundation of mine through the many projects.
Right, Jacintha, lots of stories that you have shared with us, but this is person of interest. So we have to ask you questions on how you are sort of straddling both worlds. You are somebody who works at the grassroots level for social impact that you spoke about, but you're also a corporate, leadership coach. So how do you really balance out both worlds, which are at the ends of a spectrum, really?
I'd like to speak at two different levels. One is it even possible that these two worlds meet? And I believe they do, right? At a personal level, if I have to speak, currently I, work with an organization called CalFIS, and I realize that the leadership team there, the founding team, is phenomenal in terms of being able to support me in being able to do both, right? They give me the space. In fact, I tell them when I'm available, when I'm not available, what am I doing, what am I not doing, and how this world for me is a world that is unified. It's not two different worlds. So, it does come together. The second place where they really talk to each other, I can tell you, is that we have mentors and faculty members who are all volunteering their time for us. And we have a band of over 100 faculty members and over 200 plus mentors, and they're all from large corporates holding significant positions of responsibility in those organizations. They all show up, Sonal, every Sunday to come and teach our girls. There is nothing that we offer them other than the space to come and share their learnings. And it's not like they come on a single day, on one Sunday where they come and train our girls, because our girls are in colleges from Monday to Saturday, right? Sunday is the only day we get to meet them. Believe me, they come, they train, they spend time, they truly hold the girls as they grow up and move into different careers.
Nice.
Jacintha, it's been lovely to have someone like you, someone who's thought so much about the work they do, about the impact they're having on the world. Tell us, if resources and time were not a constraint, if you could build anything through HopeWorks Foundation, through the message of HopeWorks Foundation, what would it be?
I would like to talk of two because they're interconnected.
Sure.
I do believe, like I said before, just like you talk about digital literacy and maybe now making everyone feel that they have to make AI their ally and work with it, not be fearful of it. I think these are very important skill sets. Just like that, I think being hopeful and practicing hope, it's a science. It's not just a good positive word. It's not just optimism. Hope is far bigger than that. And if we have to teach this like we are teaching our children and seeing such fantastic results in their lives, I do believe this has to go into every school, every college, every home, and every corporate and every workplace. If there is a way to establish a Hope Institute and truly institutionalize what we are doing in our own small circle, and we are trying hard to make it bigger, I'd love to see, because I think this is something that needs to be researched, it needs to be understood, it needs to be taught, and it needs to be learned like every other skill and super skill that we are learning. I would love to establish something like that. On the other side of it is there are underserved communities in India even today, right? So I would love to establish a chapter, if not in every village, at least in every district. And this is something that I speak to everyone that I meet, and it's something that we speak about in our office all the time. I'd love to create mobile hope vans, with which we can go into every village, teach not just digital skills and AI, but also teach hope.
Jacintha Jayachandran, spectacular work that she's doing, and here's wishing her all the very best for